Hello. Let's talk. Today, I'm gonna answer some questions that I had you guys send in on this like anonymous Instagram. I don't know, it's called Not Gonna Lie, whatever. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. Anyways, they're anonymous because, I don't know, people would rather not have their names be known when asking questions, which I understand. So, I have a few questions and we're just gonna hang out and we're just gonna talk because I like to talk and Kale's at work and so I don't have anybody to talk to. So, we're just gonna answer some questions. The first question is, what's your orientation? I'm assuming that they mean sexual orientation. I identify as bisexual, although I have never been in a relationship with a girl. I have had feelings for a girl, and I find girls attractive. So that, you know, falls under bisexual. I am in a very serious relationship with a man, and I've only ever been with men. I've only ever been sexual with men. But, and I'm probably going to marry Kale. So, I mean, it's not like it matters, but I do identify as bisexual if somebody were asking, which they are. So, first question answered, over with. Let's freaking move on. This question, I don't know if it's just a dig at me or what, but they said, how many selfies do you take a day? Honestly, I really don't take selfies. Like, I don't. Like, unless you're talking about Snapchat, then probably a lot. Because I Snapchat my friends back a lot. And I Snapchat my boyfriend back a lot. And those are selfies. But if you're just talking about like a little... No, I don't do that. Like, I just took a mirror selfie the other day for like the first time in a while. And actually posted. And most of my pictures are not selfies. Next question, what's your favorite movie? This is really, really hard because I don't think I can just pick one movie as my favorite movie. I love so many movies and I always like watch movies and I'm like, oh, that was the best movie ever. And then I don't even remember it like a month later. I do know I love the movie Two Hearts that was on Netflix. That movie was so good. I watched it so many times and cried a lot. I love any Disney movie. All the High School Musical movies, Hannah Montana the movie, Starstruck, Minutemen, Camp Rock, Lemonade Mouth, Jumpin', Let It Shine. All those movies are bops and I can watch them over and over and over and over again. The One Direction movie. The Longest Ride, that's a really good movie. I'm a sucker for anything that'll make me cry. So, but yeah. Next question. How is the best, I think they mean like, what is the best way to approach and talk to girls? So, if you're trying to approach and talk to a girl and like actually pursue something with them and not just try and get in their pants, that's how I'm going to view this question. I would, if you're talking about like in person, I would just, if they're with their friends, maybe just go up to them and be like, hi, like start a conversation casually and then read their vibes. You can tell so much by a girl's facial expressions and her body gestures, like if she's feeling you or not. Like if this girl is like around her friends and she's clearly not into the conversation and you're trying and like you can just tell that she's not interested, then just leave it alone. You tried. But if she's kind of flirting back, you know, given the vibes that she might want to talk, then maybe pull her aside and be like, hey, like, can I buy you a drink? Like, do you want to go chat? Like, I'd love to get your number. I don't know, like something like that. Just don't be aggressive. Like, you can tell if a girl's not feeling you, and if she's not feeling you, she's not feeling you. Like, just give up and move on. But there's no harm in trying. Just be like calm about your approach, because girls are very reserved when a guy comes up to them, and especially in this day and age with all of the things that have gone on with girls and sexual assault, sex trafficking, like all these things, like girls are very reserved. So you have to be gentle and kind with your approach. Don't be aggressive, and read the vibes. Next question. What's some advice for getting your first apartment? So this is like, technically this is my 4th apartment. So I moved out when I was 18, right after I graduated high school. And I moved to Pittsburgh, Kansas, where I went to college. And I had an apartment there that I lived out for 2 years. And then I moved to another apartment complex and lived in one apartment. And then a couple months later, I moved down into another apartment. And now I'm living in Lenexa, Kansas with my boyfriend in a whole different apartment. So I have lots of experience with getting apartments. But my best advice is to just do your research. Like, I know that sometimes it's annoying to have to, like, do your research on a place, but like, seriously, read the reviews, do tours of places. Like, I never got to, like, Kayla and I toured one place up here together, and then he toured 2 places by himself. One of them was this place because I was doing something, I don't even remember what. But you learn a lot about a place when you go on a tour. You can see all of the amenities, you can see different floor plans and layouts, and the people are usually very helpful because they want you to come live there. So they're going to answer any questions that you have. But yeah, just do your research and save up money. Like, I know it's hard, it's very hard to save money. You're talking about the girl who loves to shop more than anything. But you have to save up money because obviously you're going to have your security deposit and your first month rent. And if you have pets, you're going to have a pet fee and all of those things. And you're going to need stuff for your apartment. And my best advice is to buy those things gradually. Like, if you know in advance that you're going to be moving out and getting a place on your own or with a roommate, get those things gradually. Like, as you go to Walmart and you see kitchen gadgets or whatever, grab a couple because you're gonna want them, but you're not gonna want to go and buy all those things at once because it adds up. Trust me, it adds up. But that's what I did, and that worked really well for me. Also, you don't have to buy everything brand new, like furniture and stuff. Facebook Marketplace that. Like, go to Goodwill and DIY yourself a coffee table. There's so many alternatives to saving money and not going completely broke when you're moving out on your own for the first time, because it can be really scary and it can be really, really hard to move out on your own and not know what to expect from it. But I promise, like, if you're moving out completely on your own, like, definitely confide in somebody who's lived on their own before that can help you with that transition, because it'll be hard. But if you're living with roommates, definitely make sure you communicate with the roommates what you're going to be buying for the apartment, what they need to buy for the apartment, and when you guys move out, what you're going to take, what they're going to take. Because if you're, like, splitting things 50-50 with your roommates, but you're not always going to live with them, that's going to cause a conflict in the end of, like, oh, well, we both paid for that, so who's going to take it now? Like, it's better to just buy something and be like, this is mine. It can go out in the living room or it can be in the kitchen, but, like, when we move out, I'm taking it. That's my best advice. Next question. Do you have trust issues? Do I have trust issues? Oh boy. Yes and no. Like, my past relationships have caused so many trust issues for me, but I'm in a very healthy and very good relationship right now, so I don't have those. Like, the trust issues carried over at first, but the longer that we've been together and the more that he's never given me a reason not to trust him, they've, like, gone away. Not totally gone away. Like, yes, I'm still anxious, and there's still times where he'll go out with his friends and I worry that, like, oh my gosh, like, what if he sees another girl out and he thinks that that she's prettier than me? Like, is he gonna flirt with her when I'm not around? Like, every girl is gonna think that, but deep down in my heart, I know that he would never do that, and I know that he would never betray me in that way. So there's things that I do think about and get anxious about, but I think that's common for any relationship. So I don't think that I have trust issues when it comes to me and my relationships specifically, no. Next question is, are you close with your parents? I'm very close with my parents. I feel like over the years of my life, I've gone through phases, but I mean, I definitely wasn't very close with them in high school, but I was also in a very toxic relationship that, like, caused me to push myself away from anybody that cared about me and that called me out on that toxic relationship, my parents being one of them. So I wasn't very close with them in high school, but after I moved out, I really realized like how big of an age gap there is between me and my parents, and how little time I will actually have with them compared to people my age. And when I had that reality check and I wasn't seeing my mom and my dad every day, and I couldn't just go talk to them whenever I wanted, or have my mom cook me a meal, or whatever it might be, like go ask my dad for 20 bucks anymore, like I really had that realization that like I have to cherish every moment that I spend with them, because they're not going to be here for as long as I'd like them to. And so every moment counts. And so I talk to my mom and my dad every single day. Like my mom sends me a good morning text. I text her at least every day. I usually FaceTime them every single day too. And I love it, and I want to keep it that way. Sorry about that little intermission. Kale called me on his lunch, and I have to answer because I miss him and I wanted to hear his voice. So anyways, I was talking about my parents and how I FaceTime them every day, and basically, yeah, I love my mom and my dad a lot. They're my best friends. Next question says college highs and lows. So let's see, I was in college for 3 years, technically 4, but one of them was my senior year in high school. I was a full-time college student taking dual credit classes. But as far as like Pittsburgh college highs and lows, I think the highs were getting to explore who I am in a different place. Like I had only ever grown up in small town Humboldt, Kansas, and let me tell you, growing up in a small town really shelters you. Like I'm not kidding. Like it has its pros and its cons, but when I met Reesan and I visited her in New Jersey, and I just saw like people wearing different things and people not judging other people, and like her being able to do and say and wear what she wants, and people not looking at her differently and stuff, and like going places and not knowing everybody, and like just the different cultures and stuff, I was like, what? I've been growing up in this small town where I've been taught to believe these things because I thought that that's what was right, but really that's just what was right in my small town. So going to Pittsburgh, like it's still a small town, but it's a college town, and that means that there's so many more people, so many more cultures and social groups and different people that you can vibe with and hang with and see and be inspired from them. And I felt like I really branched out when I moved there, and I really found out who I am and who I wanted to be as a person, and some of the things that I had been taught to believe when I was younger I didn't want to believe anymore, and that might have upset some people from my small town, but it is what it is, and I'd much rather be open and more understanding to differences in human beings than closed-minded like I was when I grew up in my small town. So one of the highs was definitely just the environment of being in a different place where I can grow outside of living in a small town. As far as college itself, like it was good to be able to actually learn things that were in my field of interest. Like in high school, you have to learn chemistry, and you have to learn algebra, and you have to learn geography, and all these things that you don't care about, but that's just because you have to. But when you go to college, your classes are more focused towards what you're wanting to do with your career and your future, and mine was education, and so I was able to learn a lot about my field and what I was wanting to do. And I felt like it inspired me to go to classes more. I hardly ever missed class because I didn't want to. I was interested in what I was learning, and as far as like, it was hard, but it was worth it. Like I graduated in 3 years. So as far as the lows of college, it can feel lonely at times, especially if you move in with the wrong people, or you don't make friends. Like I was fortunate enough to always have someone in my corner in Pittsburgh, whether that was a boyfriend at the time or a friend or whatever it was. But there were times where I was going through things and I felt lonely. Like, moving in with your friends can be hard. Like, I'm fortunate enough to still be on good terms with all of the people that I lived with that were my friends to begin with, but we had hard times, and that can really make you feel lonely when you think that the person who's your best friend in the whole entire world, who you're so ecstatic to move in with and live with, you're in a fight. Like, what do you do then? Like, that's the only person that you know that you're comfortable with, and you're in a fight with them. So what do you do now? Like, that's the loneliest feeling ever, and that's hard about moving to a place that you don't know and going to college and having to experience all those things. It's hard, but I mean, it's all worth it in the end. If you make the right decisions that you feel are right at the time, like following your heart, then you can't really regret it, because you have to look back on it and just be like, yeah, I did that and I learned from it, and here we are. Like, it all leads you to the exact place where you're supposed to be. So anyways, I'm done rambling. I've talked too much. This video is going to be too long and nobody's probably going to watch it, but it feels good for me to be able to talk and get things off my chest. So I hope that some of my advice helped anybody that's watching this video. But make sure you give it a huge thumbs up. Comment down below other advice or questions that you might have that I could do for another video, and subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss when I upload. And I'll see you guys on my next video. Deuces.